Sammy Jane was the sweetest 8-year-old girl you've ever met. She had blue eyes that dazzled like the ocean and blonde hair that shined like gold. She lived with her parents and her stinky baby brother, Bobby O. She had great friends and lots of toys, but Sammy Jane was not happy. There was one thing missing that she longed for, a puppy. But not just any puppy. Oh no, Sammy Jane wanted the tiniest, most fluffy puppy in the entire world. The only problem was that her dad was allergic to animals. Every Christmas, Sammy Jane wrote to Santa Claus asking for a puppy. Every birthday wish list had puppy as number 1. She even left notes for the tooth fairy, hoping that she could exchange a tooth for a sweet little puppy instead of a quarter. One day she came to her mom with the biggest puppy eyes she could make and her bottom lip pouting out like Bobby O's. "Please, can we get a puppy?" she asked her mom. It was a daily battle of begging and pleading, but this day felt different. Her mom didn't say her usual response. Instead, she said, "You need to show me you can be responsible and mature enough to take care of a puppy." Sammy Jane was so astonished that tears began to well up in her eyes of pure happiness. She was determined not to let her mother down. For the next week, she made extra special sure that her room was always clean, she did her schoolwork right when she got home, and she even helped out with Bobby O. She had never been so exhausted in her life, but she knew she had to keep going if she was going to prove to her mother that she could handle this new responsibility. That night, she went to bed dreaming of all the fun things that her and her new puppy friend would do. She imagined herself running through the grass and playing fetch. She loved the idea of dressing up her puppy in doll clothes and having cute little tea parties. She knew that having a puppy would be the best thing of her entire life. Mom woke her up the next morning, grinning from ear to ear. She said, "Sammy Jane, wake up! We're going to the pound today." Sammy Jane rubbed her eyes, thinking that she had been dreaming. She shot up and hugged her mom super tight. "What about Dad?" Her mother began chatting about some type of hypoallergenic something or other. Sammy Jane fogged it out, because in her mind, all she could think about was bringing her new friend home. She got dressed in her most favorite sparkly dress and ran to the car. She had never been to the pound before, but it felt like the drive took forever. Sammy Jane jumped out and ran and opened the front door. She went through the hallway, and the stinkiest smell hit her nose. Her mom explained that puppies need to be potty trained and taught how to use the bathroom outside. Sammy Jane did not think of that. Her nose got used to the smell as she walked to the front desk. The lady at the counter gave them a leash and walked them into the hallway. "Right through those back door," she said. Sammy Jane pushed it open and was overwhelmed by the noise. Every dog in the entire place was barking and whining or making some sort of ruckus. Her mom grabbed her hand and walked her past each cage. There were big dogs and there were small dogs. There were dogs with only 3 legs. And then she saw him, the smallest, littlest fluff ball in the entire joint. "Mommy, Mommy, look!" Her mom opened the cage and pulled out the bundle of joy. He was brown with the sweetest little face. She placed him in Sammy Jane's hands and she kissed him on the head. In return, the little puppy bit her on the nose. Sammy Jane flinched and pulled him away. As she stared at the little thing, she felt something wet run down her leg. She looked down, and there was a big puddle at her feet that trailed down from her dress. "Ew! He peed on me!" Sammy Jane yelled at the top of her lungs. Her mom took the puppy and put him back in the cage. Sammy Jane was so upset she began to cry. She was mad and sad and angry, all combined into one. Her mother gave her a kiss on her head and said, "Let's go home. Maybe we'll come back tomorrow." As they drove away, Sammy Jane looked out the window. She was so sure that a puppy was the right pet for her. Her eyes followed some birds flying in the sky. "How peaceful and beautiful birds are," she thought to herself. A smile grew across her face. Then she spoke. "Mom, can we get a bird?"